Cybersecurity attacks becoming more sophisticated every year, and now the FDA issuing a warning about the healthcare industry, saying certain heart devices are vulnerable, allowing hackers to get in and modify programming commands. This could lead to potential battery depletion and inappropriate pacing or shocks. Joining me now, Tyler Cohen-Wood, author of the book Catching the Catfishers, also former Defense Intelligence Agency Cyber Deputy Chief and Cybersecurity Advisor for Inspired E-Learning. Tyler, thanks for being here. And if you would start for me telling us how vulnerable are our medical systems and devices, and are some of them more susceptible than others?
Well, some of them are definitely more susceptible than others. Now, all Internet of Things devices, the more connected we become, the more dangerous it can potentially be. But when you're talking about medical devices, now you're talking about something that can potentially be deadly. And some of these devices are at great risk if they're not updated, if they're not maintained properly, and there's various points in which hackers can find vulnerabilities in the system and do exactly what you said. They can cause a pacemaker's battery to drain, or they could do something else that could cause grave harm to a person.
And I'm going to get back to that, Tyler, but I want to go here for a moment. So if this is potentially a national cybersecurity issue, does the federal government need to implement regulations for companies that develop and maintain medical machines and devices used and operated in this country?
Well, I think that industry needs to start regulating itself, which it's starting to, but I do think there should be some government oversight policies that go into the security of these devices and how these devices are updated and where the points of vulnerability are. Yeah, and also letting people know who actually use these devices what they need to do to keep their devices secure.
Very important. I'll get to that in a moment, too. But I want to ask about employee training. I mean, you know, what about having these companies teaching the employees who input so much of this sensitive patient information into the digital medical systems, you know, so they learn how to look out for phishing?
That is one of the most important things that we can do to protect people who utilize these devices, and to protect everybody in general, is education. Because hackers have gotten very sophisticated, and all it takes is for one hacker to send a phishing email and get into the medical device systems network, and then they have access to all of the devices if that user has that access to all of those devices, if that user has the ability to see all those devices, which in a lot of times they do.
So what is the immediate fix? I mean, to ease the minds of patients walking around with pacemakers, heart monitors, and the like installed inside their bodies?
Well, there's a few things that are happening. There are patches that are being put out to update your devices for security. Also, if you use a monitor that wirelessly watches your device and allows your doctor to know if there's a problem, you want to make sure that you're updating that too and taking precautions to make sure hackers aren't infiltrating those devices and sending commands. You also want to make sure that you're regularly updating the device, you're monitoring the device, but also, even though there is a threat here, and a very, very scary threat, this is really a low probability issue. The chances of someone trying to assassinate someone else by using this technology, I think, is lower, but it's also potentially a very high impact issue.
But in the meantime, I don't know, do these devices come with passwords?
Well, some of them do, and some of them have passwords that are integrated into the firmware. So standards are starting to come out, like I said, within industry, and potentially government will come in and put in standards too, where passwords will be changeable, they will be difficult. There may be even something utilized called multi-factor authentication, and that's where you use a password, but you also maybe use a code that changes once in a while too to enter into the device for the physician monitoring it and for the user, the patient.
Right. Okay. Tyler Cohen-Wood, thank you for joining us with your expertise on this very important story.
Well, thank you for having me.
You got it.